In Serbia, a growing wave of student-led protests is taking place across major cities, drawing attention to the controversial actions of President Aleksandar Vučić's government. The protests erupted after a tragic incident at the Novi Sad railway station, where a concrete canopy collapsed, killing 15 people. This incident has sparked not only anger, but also a demand for accountability from both the government and those responsible for the station's renovation. Serbian students, primarily from universities across the country, have been at the forefront of these protests. They have gathered outside key locations, including Serbia's state television headquarters in Belgrade, to voice their dissatisfaction. The protesters are particularly enraged by the accusations from Vučić's government, which claims that the students' protests are being funded by Western organizations with the intent to destabilize his administration. These claims have been vehemently refuted by the students, who insist that their demonstrations are purely grassroots efforts motivated by the tragic collapse and the growing concerns about corruption within the government. The protests have gained momentum, with classes suspended at over 40 universities in Serbia, and public frustration is continuing to build. Many blame the collapse on poor construction work, which they allege resulted from corruption involving the Chinese companies working on the station's renovations. This situation has led to a broader movement calling for democratic reforms and a stop to the increasing authoritarian practices under Vučić's rule. The students, who have been rallying since early November, have even escalated their protest tactics, organizing symbolic acts like leaving money bags at the RTS building, which they accuse of spreading government propaganda. Their message is clear. They demand transparency, accountability, and an apology from the government for mismanaging public trust. Amid the protests, the Serbian government has promised to release documentation related to the railway renovation project, although many citizens remain skeptical of the investigation's sincerity, given the government's control over the police and judiciary. This skepticism has only fueled further discontent among protesters, who are also calling for the arrest of individuals responsible for violence against peaceful demonstrators. The students' actions reflect a larger shift in public sentiment in Serbia, where a growing number of citizens are calling for an end to the corruption and undemocratic practices that have tainted the country's political landscape. With daily protests continuing and the situation becoming increasingly tense, the future of Serbia's political climate remains uncertain. Stay subscribed for more videos.